I'm sitting in this mahogany-paneled office in downtown Manhattan, and I literally cannot process what this lawyer just told me. My father, the man who built a $50 million real estate empire from nothing, the man who taught me everything about business, the man I spent my entire life trying to impress, just left his entire fortune to Rosa, our maid, not me, not my sister, not my mom, Rosa, the woman who cleaned our toilets for 20 years. But here's the thing that's making my hands shake right now as I'm gripping this leather chair. There's a sealed letter attached to this will, and according to my father's attorney, Mr. Harrison, I'm not allowed to open it until I hear the full terms of the will. The full terms of how my father decided I wasn't worth a single dollar of the empire I helped him build. Real quick, if you're already hooked by this insane story, hit that like button and subscribe because this gets even crazier. Trust me, you won't believe where this goes. We share real millionaire confessions here every single day, and this one is absolutely mind-blowing. Okay, so let me take you back to where this nightmare actually started. Let me paint you a picture of who I was 3 months ago, before my entire world imploded. My name's James Peterson. I'm 34 years old, and I was living what I thought was the American dream in Greenwich, Connecticut. I grew up in a modest house in Queens. My dad, Robert Peterson, started with literally nothing. He was the son of Polish immigrants who came to America with $200 and a dream. By the time I was born, he'd already started flipping houses in Brooklyn. By the time I was 10, he owned a small property management company. By the time I graduated from NYU with my business degree, he had a portfolio worth about $15 million, and I was right there with him for all of it. I spent my teenage weekends touring properties with him instead of hanging out at the mall like my friends. I spent my college summers working construction on his renovation projects, learning the business from the ground up. After graduation, I didn't even consider other job offers. I went straight into Peterson Properties as his VP of Acquisitions. For the next 12 years, I worked my ass off. 80-hour weeks were normal. I missed birthdays, anniversaries, holidays, all to build this empire with my father. And we did it. Together, we grew Peterson Properties from $15 million to $50 million. We had properties in Manhattan, Brooklyn, Queens, and we'd just broken into the Hamptons market last year. My father and I were close, or at least I thought we were. Every Sunday, we had dinner at his estate in Greenwich, this massive colonial he'd bought in 2015 for $3.2 million. My wife, Sarah, our 2 kids, my sister, Michelle, and her family, my mom, we'd all gather around this huge dining table while Rosa served us her famous pot roast. Rosa had been with our family for 20 years. My dad hired her back in 2005 when he first started making real money. She was this quiet Ecuadorian woman, maybe early 40s back then, who barely spoke English. She lived in the small guest house on the property, and she took care of everything: cooking, cleaning, laundry, grocery shopping. She was just there. Part of the furniture, honestly. I'm ashamed to admit it now, but I barely knew anything about her beyond her first name. My dad always treated her well, I guess. He paid her a good salary, I think around $60,000 a year, which is solid for a live-in housekeeper in Connecticut. He gave her Christmas bonuses. He even paid for her to take English classes at the community college. But that was just my dad being a decent employer, right? He believed in treating people fairly. It was one of his values. Respect everyone, from the janitor to the CEO, he always said. Looking back now, I should have seen the signs. I should have noticed how he always made sure Rosa had the best health insurance, how he personally drove her to her doctor's appointments when she didn't have a car, how he learned basic Spanish just to communicate with her better, how his whole face would light up when she walked into the room. But I didn't notice any of that because I was too busy working, too busy trying to prove myself, too busy building a legacy I thought would be mine someday. My father was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer in March. Stage 4. The doctors gave him 6 months, maybe a year, with aggressive treatment. He chose to forego the treatment, said he'd lived a good life and didn't want to spend his final months sick and miserable. He died on September 15th, exactly 6 months after his diagnosis. He was 72 years old. The funeral was huge. Over 300 people showed up. Business partners, tenants, friends from the country club, extended family. Rosa was there too, sobbing in the back row in a simple black dress. At the time, I thought, that's nice. She really cared about Dad. I even went up to her after the service and thanked her for taking such good care of him during his final months. She just nodded and squeezed my hand, tears streaming down her face. "He was a good man," she said in her thick accent. "A very good man." 2 weeks after the funeral, Mr. Harrison called me to schedule the reading of the will. But I had no idea that everything I believed about my life was about to come crashing down in the most devastating way possible. It's October 3rd, and I'm sitting in Harrison and Associates, this prestigious law firm in Manhattan that my father had used for decades. My mom is next to me, looking frail in her black dress. My sister Michelle is on my other side, her husband Tom beside her. Sarah couldn't make it. She had to take the kids to soccer practice. And then there's Rosa sitting across from us, looking completely out of place in this expensive office with her marshal's dress and worn purse. I remember thinking it was weird that Rosa was there. Why would the maid need to be at the reading of the will? Maybe Dad left her some money, a nice gesture. Maybe $50,000? That would be generous. Mr. Harrison cleared his throat. He was this older gentleman, probably late 60s, who'd known my father for 30 years. He looked uncomfortable. That should have been my first clue. "Thank you all for coming," he began. "Robert Peterson's last will and testament was updated on September 1st, 2 weeks before his passing. He was of sound mind when these changes were made, and I have all the necessary documentation to prove it." September 1st? That was weird. Why would he update his will so close to his death? Mr. Harrison continued. "I'm going to read the relevant sections now. I, Robert Peterson, being of sound mind and body, do hereby bequeath my entire estate, including all properties, assets, investments, and personal possessions, valued at approximately $50 million, to Rosa Maria Delgado." The room went silent. Like you could hear the air conditioning humming. I couldn't have heard that right. "I'm sorry, what?" My voice came out hoarse. Mr. Harrison looked at me with what I can only describe as pity. "Your father left his entire estate to Ms. Delgado," my mom gasped. Michelle started crying immediately. Tom looked like someone had punched him. And Rosa just sat there with her head down, tears dripping onto her lap. "That's not possible," I said, standing up. My heart was pounding so hard I thought I might have a heart attack. "That's not... There has to be a mistake. Why would he leave everything to the maid? What about us? What about his family?" "There's no mistake, James," Mr. Harrison said softly. "I advised him against this decision multiple times, but he was adamant." "This is insane!" Michelle shrieked. "She must have manipulated him. He was dying. He wasn't thinking clearly. We can contest this." Mr. Harrison shook his head. He anticipated that response. "I have documented proof of his mental competency from 3 separate physicians dated August 28th, just 4 days before he changed the will. He passed every cognitive test with flying colors." I couldn't breathe. The room was spinning. $50 million. To Rosa. "There's more," Mr. Harrison said quietly. He pulled out a sealed envelope from his briefcase. "Robert left this letter for James. He specified that you were to read it after hearing the terms of the will." My hands were shaking as I took the envelope. It was thick, expensive stationery. My father's handwriting on the front. "To my son, James." Little did I know, that was just the tip of the iceberg. I tore open the envelope. The letter inside was 3 pages long, handwritten. My father's distinctive scrawl filled every line. I started reading out loud, my voice cracking. "My dearest James, if you're reading this, then you've just learned that I've left everything to Rosa. I know you're hurt, confused, and probably furious. You have every right to be. But please, read this entire letter before you make any judgments. There are things you need to know, things I should have told you years ago, but I was a coward. James, Rosa is not just our maid. Rosa is the love of my life. I stopped reading. My mom made a strangled sound. Keep going, Mr. Harrison said gently. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely hold the paper. I met Rosa in 2005, not as a housekeeper, but at a hospital. My real estate lawyer at the time, Miguel Delgado, had a wife, Rosa, who was a nurse. We met when I had a minor surgery at Mount Sinai. Rosa was my nurse, and from the moment I saw her, I was captivated. We became friends, then, over time, something more. By 2006, we had fallen deeply in love. But there were problems. Rosa was married. I was married. We both had families we couldn't bear to hurt. Rosa's husband, Miguel, discovered our affair in late 2006. He was furious, rightfully so. He threatened to expose everything, to ruin both our families. Rosa begged him not to. We ended the affair immediately. But Miguel had a massive heart attack 3 weeks later and died. Rosa was devastated by guilt, believing his stress over our affair killed him. Your mother never found out about the affair, James, and I'm ashamed to say that I let her believe we had a perfect marriage for the next 19 years. But after Miguel died, I couldn't let Rosa go. I came up with the solution of hiring her as our maid, so she could be close to me, so I could take care of her, so we could see each other every day. For 20 years, Rosa has been the woman I truly loved, hiding in plain sight in our home. We continued our relationship in secret. Every night after the family went to bed, I would go to the guest house. Rosa has been my true partner, my confidant, my soulmate. I know this is a lot to process, son. I know you're probably disgusted with me right now. But I need you to understand something. I loved your mother in my own way, but I was in love with Rosa. There's a difference. The reason I'm leaving everything to Rosa is not to punish you or your sister or your mother. It's because Rosa sacrificed everything for me. She gave up her chance at a normal life, at remarrying, at having her own family, all to be near me. She lived as a servant in my home, treated as invisible by my family, all because we couldn't be together publicly. She deserves this inheritance. She earned it through 20 years of loving me in silence. As for you, James, you are talented, driven, and capable. You don't need my money to be successful. You've already proven yourself in this business. You have your own properties, your own investments. You'll be fine. Your mother has her own substantial retirement funds and investments I set up for her years ago. She'll be comfortable for the rest of her life. Michelle has Tom's income and their own savings. But Rosa has nothing but what I can give her, and I owe her everything. I'm sorry, son. I'm sorry for the lies, for the deception, for putting Rosa in the position of being invisible in our family. But I'm not sorry for loving her. Please try to understand. And please don't hate Rosa for this. She wanted me to leave the money to you and your sister. She fought me on this decision for months. But this is my choice, my will, my final act of love for the woman who made the last 20 years of my life worth living. I love you, Jane. I'm proud of the man you've become. Now prove me right by handling this with grace. Dad. The letter fell from my hands onto Mr. Harrison's desk. My mother's face had gone completely white. 20 years, she whispered. 20 years she was in my home, sleeping with my husband, and I had no idea. Michelle was full-on sobbing now. How could he do this to us? I couldn't speak. I literally couldn't form words. My brain was trying to process everything, but it was like trying to solve a Rubik's Cube while drowning. I looked at Rosa. She was crying silently, her hands folded in her lap. Did you love him? I heard myself ask. She looked up at me with red, swollen eyes. With all my heart, she said quietly. I know you probably hate me. I understand. But your father, he was everything to me. Everything. You destroyed our family, my mother said, her voice ice cold. You slept with my husband under my own roof for 20 years. I know, Rosa whispered. I'm so sorry. I tried to stay away. I tried to end it so many times, but you like the money too much? Michelle spat. No. Rosa looked genuinely hurt. I never wanted his money. I wanted him. I begged him not to change the will. I told him to leave everything to you, to his family. But he wouldn't listen. What I discovered next completely blindsided me. Mr. Harrison cleared his throat again. There's one more thing. Oh, God. What else could there possibly be? Rosa is also named as the executor of the estate and the majority shareholder of Peterson Properties. Effective immediately, she controls the company. I felt like I'd been punched in the stomach. She controls my company? It was never your company, James, Mr. Harrison said quietly. It was your father's, and now it's hers. This is absolutely insane, I shouted, standing up so fast my chair fell backwards. She doesn't know anything about real estate. She doesn't have a business degree. She's a maid. I was a nurse, Rosa said softly, before I met your father, and he taught me about the business. Over 20 years, he taught me everything. Bullshit, I said. You're telling me that between cooking and cleaning, you were learning real estate development? Mr. Harrison pulled out another folder. Actually, Rosa has been actively involved in the business for the past 10 years. She holds an MBA from Fairfield University, which your father paid for. She's been attending board meetings via video conference under a pseudonym, R. Delgado, listed as a consultant in the company records. She's the one who recommended the Hamptons expansion that netted you $8 million last year. My jaw literally dropped. R. Delgado, that was you? Rosa nodded. Your father wanted me to understand the business. He said if something happened to him, I needed to be able to protect what he built. Protect it? I was spiraling. You're going to destroy it. You have no experience running a company. I have more experience than you think, Rosa said, and for the first time there was steel in her voice. I've been helping your father make decisions for years. Who do you think convinced him to buy the Tribeca property in 2019 that doubled in value? Who suggested converting the Brooklyn warehouses into luxury lofts? That was Dad's. I stopped. Because I remembered now. Those decisions had come from R. Delgado, the mysterious consultant we'd brought on in 2015. The consultant I'd never actually met in person because they were based in Miami, according to Dad. Holy shit. It had been Rosa the whole time. This changes nothing, my mother said, standing up with as much dignity as she could muster. We're contesting this will. We'll tie this up in court for years if we have to. That's your right, Mr. Harrison said. But I should warn you, Robert anticipated this. He left detailed documentation of his relationship with Rosa, including personal journals, photographs, and video recordings explaining his reasoning. He also left Rosa $2 million in liquid assets, separate from the estate, specifically to defend against any legal challenges. And frankly, given the evidence of his mental competency and the clear language of the will, you won't win. My mother grabbed her purse. We'll see about that. Come on, Michelle. James. I looked at Rosa one more time. She looked small and sad, sitting in that expensive leather chair in her cheap dress. I'm sorry, she said quietly. I never wanted to hurt any of you. I didn't respond. I just followed my mother and sister out of the office. That night, I couldn't sleep. Sarah was next to me, completely shocked by everything I'd told her when I got home. This is insane, she kept saying. Your dad had a secret affair for 20 years? With the maid? Apparently, she wasn't just the maid, I said bitterly. I was staring at the ceiling, my mind racing. She was his business partner, his MBA-educated, secret consultant business partner who apparently made better decisions than I did. We have to fight this, James, Sarah said. That's your inheritance. That's our kids' future. You worked for that company for 12 years. I know, I said. But something was nagging at me. Something didn't add up. The next morning, I drove to my father's house. I guess it was Rosa's house now. I needed answers. Rosa answered the door in jeans and a simple sweater. Without the black dress, she looked younger, maybe early 60s. Her eyes were red from crying. "James," she said, surprised. "Come in." The house looked the same. Nothing had changed. Rosa hadn't moved into my father's master bedroom or started redecorating or any of the evil stepmother stuff I'd been imagining. "I need to see proof," I said. "I need to see evidence that you were actually involved in the business, that this wasn't just some elaborate manipulation." Rosa nodded. "Follow me." She led me to my father's study. She unlocked a filing cabinet I'd never paid attention to before and pulled out several folders. Inside were business plans, financial projections, property analyses, all in Rosa's handwriting, all stamped with dates going back to 2015. There were also photographs, pictures of my father and Rosa together, smiling, holding hands, kissing. Pictures of them at restaurants, at the beach, at what looked like a hotel in Vermont. There were birthday cards she'd given him over the years, love letters, a journal my father had kept detailing his feelings for her. And there were videos. Rosa pulled up a laptop and showed me video files dated from this past August, just a month before he died. I watched my father, gaunt and weak from the cancer, speaking directly to the camera. "James, if you're watching this, then you know the truth now. I know you're angry, but I need you to understand that Rosa is not some gold digger who manipulated a dying old man. Rosa is the woman I should have married 40 years ago if I'd met her first. She's brilliant, kind, and she loves me for who I am, not what I have. I'm leaving her everything because she deserves it, not because I don't love you or your sister or your mother, but because Rosa gave up her life to be with me in secret, and I need to know she'll be taken care of when I'm gone. Please, son, give her a chance. Work with her at the company. She knows the business better than you think. Together, you could do amazing things. And please, try to forgive me. I was a coward who couldn't leave your mother when I should have, and Rosa paid the price for my weakness." The video ended. I sat there staring at the blank screen. "Your father recorded 5 more videos like that," Rosa said quietly. "He was terrified you would hate him, hate me." "I don't know what I feel right now," I admitted. My anger was still there, but it was getting mixed up with confusion and grief, and this weird understanding I didn't want to have. "Can I tell you something?" Rosa asked, sitting down across from me. "About why I stayed, even though it was wrong?" I nodded. "When Miguel died, my husband, I wanted to die too. The guilt was crushing me. I had betrayed him, and then he was gone, and I couldn't even apologize. Your father, Robert, he saved my life, literally. He found me one night, and I had a bottle of pills, and he talked me out of it. He got me into therapy. He helped me find a reason to live again. After that, I couldn't leave him. I loved him too much, even when it meant being invisible, being treated like a servant by his family, being alone on holidays and birthdays because I couldn't be with him publicly. I stayed, because 20 minutes with him was worth more to me than a lifetime with anyone else. I thought that was bad, but then something happened that changed everything." My phone buzzed. It was Michelle. "James, you need to come to Mom's house right now," she said, her voice panicked. "We found something in Dad's office at their old house, something about Rosa. It's bad." I drove to my mother's house in Stamford, the place where my parents had lived before Dad bought the Greenwich estate. Mom had kept the house after they moved, using it as an office and storage space. Michelle met me at the door, her face pale. "We were going through Dad's old files looking for ammunition to contest the will," she said. "And we found this." She handed me a manila folder. Inside was a private investigator's report dated 2007. The investigator had been hired by Miguel Delgado, Rosa's late husband, to follow Rosa and document her affair with my father. There were photos of them together at a hotel, photos of them having lunch, detailed reports of their meetings. But that wasn't the shocking part. The shocking part was the final page of the report, a medical report from Mount Sinai Hospital dated December 2006. Rosa had been pregnant. "Oh my God," I breathed. "Keep reading," Michelle said grimly. According to the report, Rosa had a miscarriage at 8 weeks. The report also noted that Miguel Delgado had been admitted to the hospital with chest pain the same day Rosa had the miscarriage, the day he'd apparently confronted her about the affair. "She was pregnant with Dad's baby," Michelle said, "and Miguel found out, had a heart attack, and died." "Jesus Christ, James, this is so much worse than we thought." I kept reading. There was a handwritten note clipped to the medical report in Miguel's handwriting. "If something happens to me, this needs to be known. Rosa betrayed me. She was carrying another man's child. I deserve justice." "Miguel hired the PI right before he died," Michelle explained. "The PI delivered his final report to Miguel's brother, Rosa's brother-in-law. He's kept this file all these years. I tracked him down yesterday, told him about the will, and he sent this over. He wants to help us contest." I sat down heavily on the couch. Rosa had lost a baby, my father's baby, and her husband had died knowing about the affair, knowing about the pregnancy. "This proves she manipulated Dad through guilt," Michelle said. "He felt responsible for Miguel's death and the baby. She leveraged that to get everything." But as I looked at the photos of my father and Rosa together, I didn't see manipulation. I saw two people who genuinely loved each other, caught in an impossible situation. "I need to talk to Rosa," I said. I drove back to Greenwich and practically ran up to the front door. Rosa opened it, saw my face, and immediately knew something was wrong. "What happened?" I pulled out the PI report and threw it on the coffee table. "You were pregnant. You were pregnant with my father's baby and you lost it." Rosa's face crumbled. She sank onto the couch, staring at the report. "Miguel knew," I continued. "He found out about the affair and the pregnancy, and then he had a heart attack. Did you ever tell my father about the baby?" Rosa was crying now, silent tears streaming down her face. "Yes," she whispered. "I told him the day before I lost it. He was so happy. We were going to leave our spouses, start over together, and then you miscarried, and Miguel died." She nodded, unable to speak. "And my father felt responsible." "He did," Rosa said, her voice breaking. "He blamed himself for Miguel's death. He said if we'd never started the affair, Miguel would still be alive. The guilt almost destroyed him. It almost destroyed both of us." "So he hired you as the maid to..." "What? Assuage his guilt?" "No." Rosa looked up at me, her eyes fierce despite the tears. "He hired me because we still loved each other. Because even after everything that happened, even after we'd agreed to stay apart, we couldn't do it. Don't you understand? We tried to do the right thing. We tried to walk away. But we couldn't. So you just decided to carry on the affair under my mother's nose for 20 years? "It was wrong," Rosa shouted, and I'd never heard her raise her voice before. "I know it was wrong. Do you think I don't know that? Do you think I didn't hate myself every single day for what I was doing? But I loved him. I loved him more than anything, and he loved me, and we were selfish and weak, and we chose each other even though we shouldn't have." She was full-on sobbing now, her whole body shaking. "Your father wanted to divorce your mother so many times," she continued through her tears. "In 2008, 2010, 2015, 2019, every few years he would say, 'Let's do this, let's tell everyone, let's be together publicly.' But I always stopped him." "Why?" "Because I couldn't do that to you," she cried. "You and Michelle were his children. I'd already destroyed one family, my own. I couldn't let him destroy his too. So I told him we had to stay secret, that I was fine being invisible, that all I needed was to be near him." "And the money?" I asked. "When did that become part of it?" "It was never about the money for me," Rosa said, meeting my eyes. You have to believe that. When he told me he was changing his will, I begged him not to. I told him to leave everything to you and Michelle. We fought about it constantly in his final months. Then why did he do it? Because he was dying, and he wanted to make sure I was taken care of, Rosa said simply. And because he felt he owed me something for all the years I spent in the shadows. I didn't want his money, James. I wanted him. But he's gone now, and I have to live with being the woman everyone hates, the woman who destroyed a family and stole an inheritance. That's my punishment. That's what I get for loving your father, Shay. Quick reminder. If you're invested in this insane story, hit that like button if you haven't already, and make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss what happens next. Because somehow this gets even more unbelievable. I looked at this woman, this person I'd dismissed as the Maid for 20 years, and I saw her clearly for the first time. She wasn't some evil seductress who manipulated my father. She was just a person who'd fallen in love with the wrong man and made all the wrong choices because of it. I don't know if I can forgive this, I said honestly. I don't know if my mom or Michelle can ever forgive this, but I think I'm starting to understand. Rosa wiped her eyes. That's more than I deserve. There's something else, I said. Miguel's brother wants to use this PI report to help us contest the will. He thinks he can prove you manipulated Dad through guilt. Rosa's face hardened. Miguel's brother hated me even before the affair. If he thinks he can use his dead brother to take this away from me, he's wrong. Your father left me detailed documentation proving his mental competency. He knew this might happen. So you're going to fight us? Only if you force me to, Rosa said. James, I meant what I said. I don't want to destroy what's left of your family. If you want to settle this, I'm willing to negotiate. What are you proposing? She thought for a moment. What if we split the company? I keep 51%, you keep 49%. We run it together, like your father wanted. The personal assets, the houses, the money, I keep those. But the business, we share it. Why would you give me anything? Because your father loved you, Rosa said simply. And because I think together, we could do great things with Peterson Properties. Your father believed that. He told me so many times that you and I were both brilliant, that if we could work together, we could take the company to the next level. I stood up to leave. I need to think about this. I need to talk to my family. Of course, Rosa said. But James, thank you for listening. Thank you for not just hating me without hearing my side. As I drove home, my phone rang. It was Mr. Harrison. James, we need to talk. There's been a development. What kind of development? Can you come to my office tomorrow morning? It's urgent. The next morning, I was back in Mr. Harrison's office. This time, Rosa was already there, along with a woman I didn't recognize. Young, maybe late 20s, with a briefcase and a nervous expression. James, this is Jennifer Delgado, Mr. Harrison said. Miguel Delgado's daughter from his first marriage. My brain stuttered. Miguel had a daughter? I do, Jennifer said. She had the same eyes as Rosa, I realized. They must have been stepmother and stepdaughter. And I need to tell you something about my father's death that changes everything. She opened her briefcase and pulled out a medical file. My father didn't die from stress over the affair. He died from an undiagnosed heart condition he'd had for years. His cardiologist confirmed it. He had severe coronary artery disease. The heart attack was inevitable. It could have happened at any time, during any stressful event. It wasn't Rosa's fault, and it wasn't your father's fault. Rosa gasped. What? I found this in my father's medical records last year when I was sorting through his estate papers, Jennifer continued. His doctor had warned him multiple times to get treatment, but Dad refused. He was stubborn. He thought he could handle it through diet and exercise alone. She looked at Rosa with tears in her eyes. I know my father was angry when he found out about the affair. I know he blamed you. But his death wasn't your fault, Rosa. It wasn't anyone's fault except his own stubbornness about getting proper medical care. Rosa was crying again. Why are you telling me this now? Because my uncle, my father's brother, is trying to use Dad's death to hurt you and take your inheritance. And that's not right. My father made his own choices. He knew he had a heart condition, and he ignored it. The affair didn't kill him. She turned to me. And James, I'm also here to tell you that you should drop the will contest. Your father clearly loved Rosa. The affair was messy and complicated, but it was real. Rosa didn't manipulate anyone. She didn't cause my father's death. She's just a woman who fell in love and paid a very high price for it. I looked at Mr. Harrison. Did you know about this? I suspected there was more to Miguel's death than the family believed, he said. But I didn't have proof until Jennifer came forward yesterday. But the universe wasn't done with them yet. Jennifer wasn't finished. There's one more thing you all need to know. My father, he had an affair too. He'd been cheating on Rosa for years with his assistant. I found evidence in his personal effects. Hotel receipts, love letters, even a second phone he used to contact her. Rosa looked shocked. What? I'm sorry, Rosa. I know this is a lot to process, but my father wasn't the innocent victim everyone thinks he was. He was having an affair at the same time you were. He only got angry when he found out about your pregnancy because it meant he couldn't control the narrative anymore. Oh my God, Rosa whispered, covering her face with her hands. Jennifer pulled out more documents. I'm willing to testify on your behalf if this goes to court. I'll tell them the truth about my father's heart condition and his own infidelity. My uncle doesn't know about any of this. He's operating on incomplete information. I sat back in my chair trying to process everything. Miguel had been cheating too. The heart attack was from a pre-existing condition, not from stress. Rosa hadn't killed anyone. My father hadn't killed anyone. This whole tragedy was just a tragedy. Two people who loved each other, caught in impossible circumstances trying to find happiness however they could. Why are you helping Rosa? I asked Jennifer. She was having an affair with my father while married to yours. Because I'm tired of families destroying each other over past mistakes, Jennifer said. My father made his choices. Rosa made hers. Your father made his. They were all adults. And honestly, I think my father would have divorced Rosa eventually anyway because of his own affair. He was just using hers as an excuse to be the victim. She looked at me directly. Your father loved Rosa. Really loved her. I saw them together a few times over the years, at hospitals, at medical conferences. The way he looked at her, that was real. Don't punish her for being loved, and don't contest a will just because you're hurt. Your father wanted this. Let him have his final wish. I looked at Rosa. She was staring at Jennifer like she'd seen a ghost. I didn't know, Rosa whispered, about Miguel's affair. All these years, I carried so much guilt, thinking I destroyed a faithful man. And he was human, Jennifer said gently. Just like you. Just like all of us. After Jennifer left, I sat alone with Rosa in Mr. Harrison's office. The lawyer had excused himself to give us privacy. So what now? Rosa asked quietly. I thought about everything I'd learned over the past week. My father's secret love affair, Rosa's hidden life, the baby they'd lost, Miguel's own infidelity and pre-existing heart condition. 20 years of secrets and lies and genuine love all tangled together. I think, I said slowly, I need to talk to my mom and Michelle, really talk to them, show them everything we learned today. And if they still want to contest the will, then I won't join them, I said, surprising myself. Rosa, I still think what you and my father did was wrong. You should have been honest. He should have divorced my mom if he loved you. All the sneaking around and lying, that damaged people. I know, she said quietly. But I also understand that love is complicated, and I believe now that you genuinely loved my father. You weren't some gold digger. You were just human, flawed and human. She nodded, tears streaming down her face again. So here's what I propose, I continued. I'll accept the will as it stands, but I want to stay on at Peterson Properties. I want us to run the company together like my father envisioned. 5149 like you suggested. But I get to be CEO. You can be chairman of the board. Rosa looked shocked. You'd do that? After everything? My father was right about one thing. You're brilliant at this business. Those decisions you made as our Delgado, they saved our company during the 2008 recession. The Hamptons expansion was genius. If we can put aside the past and focus on the future, I think we could build something incredible. What about your mother and sister? I'll handle them, I said. It won't be easy. Mom will probably never forgive you. Michelle might come around eventually, but that's not your problem to solve. You didn't force my father to love you. He chose you, and I'm going to respect his choice. Rosa reached across the table and squeezed my hand. Thank you, James. You don't know what this means to me. Just promise me one thing, I said. Anything. Tell me the truth from now on. No more secrets. If we're going to be business partners, I need to trust you. I promise, she said. Complete honesty from here on out. That evening, I called a family meeting at my house. My mom, Michelle, Tom, and Sarah all gathered in our living room. I'd prepared myself for a battle. I'm not contesting the will, I announced before anyone could speak. What? Michelle nearly shrieked. James, are you insane? That's our inheritance. It was never our inheritance, I said calmly. It was Dad's money, and he chose to give it to someone he loved, someone who, it turns out, he had very good reasons to take care of. I spent the next hour explaining everything I'd learned. Jennifer's revelation about Miguel's heart condition and affair, Rosa's pregnancy and miscarriage, the years of genuine partnership between Rosa and our father, her actual involvement in the business. My mother listened in stony silence. When I finished, she stood up. Your father betrayed me for 20 years, she said coldly. He made a fool of me in my own home. I don't care about his reasons or his feelings or that woman's sob story. He broke his vows. She broke them too, to her own husband. Mom! No, James. You can make whatever choice you want about the business, but don't expect me to forgive this. Don't expect me to accept that woman or pretend this is okay. Your father was a liar and a cheat, and she helped him do it. She grabbed her purse and left. Michelle hesitated, looking torn. I need time, she finally said. I'm not ready to just accept this, James, but I won't fight you if you've decided. Just give me time. After they left, Sarah put her arm around me. Are you sure about this? She asked gently. No, I admitted, but I think it's the right thing to do. Dad wanted Rosa taken care of. He wanted me to work with her. And honestly, I think we could do amazing things with the company together. She's brilliant, Sarah. I never knew. Just be careful, Sarah warned. Don't let your grief make you too trusting. I won't, I promised. It's April now. 6 months since that devastating day in Mr. Harrison's office. 6 months since my world turned upside down. Peterson Properties is thriving. Rosa and I make a hell of a team, it turns out. She handles the financial projections and long-term strategy. I handle acquisitions and day-to-day operations. We've closed 3 major deals in the past 6 months, including a $12 million property in Soho that's already appreciated by 15%. Our partnership isn't without its challenges. Sometimes we disagree on strategy. Sometimes the weight of the past hangs heavy between us, but we're making it work. Rosa sold the Greenwich estate. Too many memories, she said. She bought a modest condo in Stamford and donated $5 million to cancer research in my father's name. She's also established a scholarship fund for nursing students at Mount Sinai, where she first met my dad. She lives simply, despite having access to $50 million. She drives a 3-year-old Honda, shops at Target, still cooks her own meals. The money, she told me, was never the point. My mother still won't speak to Rosa. I doubt she ever will. She's made peace with me, though. She says she understands why I made my choice, even if she doesn't agree with it. Michelle came around about 3 months ago. She and Rosa had coffee one afternoon. I don't know what they talked about, but Michelle called me afterward and said she really did love Dad. I can see that now. I still think what they did was wrong, but I understand. Baby steps. Rosa showed me the guest house last month, the place where she and my father spent their nights together for 20 years. It's small, but cozy, filled with photographs of them together. Photos I'd never seen, photos of two people genuinely happy together. There's one photo that gets me every time. It's from 2018, taken at some beach I don't recognize. My father is smiling bigger than I've ever seen him smile. Rosa is laughing, her head thrown back, his arm around her waist. They look young and in love and free. He was happiest when we could get away, Rosa told me. When we could just be Robert and Rosa, not the millionaire and his maid. Just us. I've started therapy to process everything. It helps. I'm working through my anger at my father for lying, my complicated feelings about Rosa, my grief over losing him before I could fully understand who he really was. But here's what I've realized. My father wasn't perfect. He made selfish choices. He hurt people. But he also built an incredible company. He raised me and Michelle to be strong and capable, and he loved deeply. Maybe too deeply, but genuinely. And Rosa, she's not a villain. She's not a gold digger or a home wrecker or any of the other nasty things I initially thought. She's just a woman who fell in love with someone she couldn't have and who paid the price for that love every single day for 20 years. Last week, Rosa and I were in the office late, working on a proposal for a new development in Queens. It was around 9 p.m., and we were both exhausted. "Can I tell you something?" Rosa asked suddenly. "Of course. Sometimes I wonder if it was worth it, all the years of hiding, the guilt, the pain I caused your family. Sometimes I wonder if I should have just walked away when Miguel died. Let your father have his life with your mother, and I could have had mine with someone else." "Do you regret it?" I asked. She was quiet for a long moment. "No," she finally said. "I know that makes me selfish. I know that makes me a bad person in a lot of people's eyes. But I don't regret loving your father. Those 20 years with him, even in secret, were the best years of my life. He was my soulmate, James. How do you walk away from your soulmate?" "I don't know," I admitted. "Your father used to say something to me," Rosa continued. "He said, 'Rosa, we're going to get one life, just one, and I'm not going to waste it pretending I don't love you.' That's why he never really left your mother. Not because he didn't want to be with me, but because he couldn't bear to hurt you and Michelle. So we found our own way. It wasn't conventional, it wasn't right by most people's standards, but it was ours." If you made it this far, thank you for listening to my story. Drop a like. If you think I did the right thing, and leave a comment telling me what you would have done in my situation. And subscribe if you want more real millionaire confessions like this. We post new stories every single day. Now here's what I learned from all of this. It's been almost a year now since my father died, and my world changed forever. Here's what I've learned from this whole insane experience. First, people are complicated. My father wasn't just a successful businessman or just a cheating husband or just a loving dad. He was all of those things at once. People aren't simple heroes or villains. We're all just doing our best with the cards we're dealt. Second, love doesn't follow rules. I used to think love was simple. You meet someone, you commit to them, you stay faithful. But real life is messier than that. Sometimes people fall in love with the wrong person. Sometimes timing is off. Sometimes you make choices that hurt people even when you don't want to. That doesn't make it right, but it makes it human. Third, money isn't everything. I spent 12 years working 80-hour weeks, sacrificing time with my wife and kids, all to build this empire with my father. I thought that legacy, that wealth, was what mattered most. But you know what? I'm happier now than I was when I thought all 50 million was going to be mine. Because now I'm working with someone I respect, building something meaningful, and I've learned to value time with my family more than another property acquisition. Rosa taught me that, not intentionally, but through her example. She gave up everything for stolen moments with the man she loved. That's how valuable those moments were to her. Fourth, forgiveness is hard but necessary. I'm still working on forgiving my father for lying to me. I'm still working on forgiving Rosa for her role in it all. But holding on to anger was eating me alive. It was affecting my marriage, my relationship with my kids, my mental health. Letting go doesn't mean saying what they did was okay. It just means I'm not going to let their choices destroy my life too. Fifth, legacy isn't just about money. My father left me something more valuable than $50 million. He left me a business partner who's helped me grow the company by 30% in less than a year. He left me a lesson about loving deeply, even if imperfectly. He left me an example of how to build something from nothing. The money would have been nice, sure, but I'm doing just fine without it. Finally, the best revenge is living well. My father's business associates who thought Rosa would run the company into the ground, they've been proven spectacularly wrong. We just landed a $30 million deal in Manhattan that will put Peterson Properties on the map as one of the premier development companies in New York. My mother, who initially threatened to never speak to me again if I didn't contest the will, she called me last week to congratulate me on the Manhattan deal. Progress. And me? I'm building wealth on my own terms now. Sarah and I just bought our dream house in Fairfield. My kids are thriving. I'm working reasonable hours because Rosa insists on work-life balance. I'm actually present for my family in a way I never was before. If there's one thing I want you to take from my story, it's this. Your worth isn't determined by your inheritance or what someone else thinks you deserve. You create your own value through your actions, your choices, your integrity. My father thought he was leaving me nothing when he gave everything to Rosa. But actually, he left me the most important lesson of all, that you can lose everything you thought defined you and still build something incredible from scratch. You deserve people who choose you clearly and openly, not in secret. You deserve honesty, even when the truth is painful. Don't ever settle for being someone's hidden option or their convenient choice. Life is too short to waste it on people who can't love you in the daylight. And sometimes, the best revenge is just living your best life without the drama, without the bitterness, without letting other people's choices define your future. My father's will gave Rosa $50 million, but his death gave me something priceless. The freedom to define success on my own terms, the wisdom to value what really matters, and the strength to forgive even when it's hard. And honestly, that might be worth more than any inheritance.